Braga come away with the 1-0 win against Rangers. It obviously wasn't an ideal night of football for Rangers, but I think there's some positives we can take from this game. I'm trying to look at it as from the most positive and the most optimistic outlook as I can. But one thing that is quite damning, a very damning stat, is when you look at the game as a whole, Rangers had 0 shots on target. And I think that was down to a few things on the night. There's a couple of things that really didn't sit very well with me. And to be honest, but we can argue and say hindsight's a brilliant thing, but there's one thing I'd like to discuss straight away, and that was the team selection. Obviously, I understand Morelos was injured and Morelos cannot play, but Sakala really, really didn't work up top. You could tell he's not naturally going forward from the centre, and he really did struggle. And there was points where the team couldn't work out whether to play into his feet like they would do with Morelos, or play it up to him, or play it in the channels, and he just struggled constantly. Even when you play, I think it was about maybe once or twice we actually got in behind, and even then a couple of times he got bullied off the ball, and you could see he wasn't used to that physicality that you get with different centre backs. And by the way, guys, if you could do me a huge favour, every person that's watching this video, please smash that like button and subscribe. Honestly, it helps me so much. I am so close to 2K subscribers, and it'd be amazing if you could help me get there. But then, not only that, the Sakala situation, I thought he really struggled in the game. He played 60 minutes, and really, when you look at, he had 20 touches of the ball. That's not enough. Whereas with Morelos, he's a player you can hoof the ball up to in difficult situations. A couple of times when Calvin Bassey had the ball, and he knocked it long up to him, and Sakala just could not hold it up. And then you got to be able to defend from the front, because then all that kept happening then was this sea of Braga players kept coming forward and forward and forward throughout the game. Not only that, I did think the midfield three did really struggle in the game. And I think Glenn Kamara, I don't like him as deep. I really don't. Maybe if you switched it around formation wise again, but this is the whole discussion when you say hindsight's a brilliant thing. I thought Tavernier had a very solid game. I thought both fullbacks were very good today, specifically Calvin Bassey. I thought Calvin Bassey was integral to everything that was good in this game, purely because there was so much coming down that right hand side. Even Fabiano, coming down this right centre back, who kept bombing on forward down that right hand side. He was very good. I thought Balogun really, really struggled, and I thought he was at fault for that goal. You could see he was flat footed. I don't know if he was carrying an injury or not, hence why he got subbed early, but I thought he really struggled to cope with Abel Ruiz, who I thought was very good for them. Not only that, Scott Arfield, I don't think he really did much in the game. When I was trying to look at his stats, yeah, he got on the ball quite a few times, 45 touches, but I prefer Aribo. That's what I prefer, proper wingers, because the thing is, when a lot of time when they were driving forward, Scott Arfield kept coming in quite central. If you look at his heat map, he was quite narrow, which when you're playing against a five at the back, what you need is those wingers to get in those spaces right down the wings. So then it creates overloads. And that's what they didn't do. Scott Arfield never did that. And Ryan Kent, obviously, Carlos Carvajal, we know he's a good manager. Obviously, he was at Sheffield Wednesday and Swansea in the past, and he's a very good manager. Everyone knows that. And quite clearly, they knew Ryan Kent was a danger man. And what they did really well was Fabiano kept bombing on forwards. Couto and Medeiros, all that three on that right-hand side kept bombing on forward. So Ryan Kent was stuck in two minds, whether to stay forward or follow the men, and he had to follow the men, because if not, then it was constantly Ryan Jack kept having to come out wide and Calvin Bassey, and there was overloads every single time, so he had to keep coming back. And then when Rangers got the ball, they couldn't knock it long to Sakala because he couldn't hold on to it, and then Ryan Kent was defending anyway. So that was the problem. I thought this overload that Braga did was really the downfall of Rangers, because they just couldn't get out. That was the problem. It was constant overloads. I thought that three at the back really suited Braga, and I'm surprised they didn't match up with it, because we've seen Lundstrom drop into that three, did it against Dortmund, and I thought that really strong Rangers did. Really, really strong. I'm surprised things weren't changed earlier. That was my only difficulty. I thought when Kemar Roof did come on, as much as Kemar Roof has his downfalls in his play, I thought he changed the game. I thought when he came on, when there was a number 9 up there, a couple of times, just whip the ball in, just try something different. And he was causing the defenders problems. Yes, he kept giving away a few needless fouls, and he was offside a couple of times, but it's just something different. And I think if they'd have started off with Kemar Roof, with a number 9, I think they have to next Thursday, I think you could see it could, because they had 3 defenders, and they really just, they were never troubled, were they, the Braga defenders, because Sakala isn't a natural number 9, and you can tell that. If you look at his heat map, it's not central at all. The majority of his time was spent out on that left. And that, again, is because of that Fabiano moving on forward. And I thought what they did, Braga, well, they were very good. But then at the end of the day, I said, try and look at this positively. If you'd have said as a Rangers fan before this game you'd be 1-0 down going into the home leg at Ibrox, you'd take it, because the thing is, it's only one goal. There's obviously no away goals. It's solid. And I do think it was probably the worst performance Rangers so far in the Europa League, but it can only get better. And Ibrox will be absolutely rocking. The fans will get behind them. And as I said, it can't be any worse. It's only one goal. And all they've got to do is just start off the game, come out the blocks instantly, because that's one thing that worked against Dortmund, is against Red Star Belgrade. If you come out fast, it puts pressure on these players, and they've got to do that at Ibrox on Thursday. They've got to come out with all guns blazing, rough the players up, fire some challenges in, because that's what Morelos does. Morelos really sets a standard for the rest of the players. He's a leader by example. And I know that does sound a bit weird saying that Morelos is a leader, but I mean, these certain actions, you sometimes leave a little elbow in or something like that, just sets a standard for the rest of the team to step up to. Because there was no one there today. I thought Ryan Jack usually does that quite often. I thought Ryan Jack struggled, but I want to just say as well, John Lundstrom, by the way, I thought was amazing today. I thought everything came through him. I thought he was really good. 83 touches of the ball, 93% passing accuracy. But the problem was he kept getting the ball way too deep. But that was because majority of the game, Braga did have the ball and they kept it well. And I know obviously Rangers had more possession, but that was towards the end. But I mean, in the moments where it was, I'm trying to think how to explain this, when they were effective, Braga were when they had the ball. Then when they got the one goal in the second half, they kind of just sat back and just said, you know what, Rangers, you pass it around the back. And then moments, you could see it was like a flick of a switch. They pressed, and they pressed effectively, and they pressed in numbers. And that's something that Rangers got to take a leaf out of their book. And if they are going to press in numbers, and if not, sit deep, but not too deep, at least leave one person up, because there was no out ball, and it just literally invited pressure on. But things have got to change for the next leg. But as I said, it can't be worse. And at the end of the day, it's only one goal. It's very easy to get back. Rangers can do it. I still think it's going to be difficult, but I'd like to think Rangers will do it in the next leg. But let me know, guys, who you thought the man of the match was. I personally thought it was Calvin Bassey. I'm still a bit baffled by the decisions from the manager, from Van Bronckhorst, but I want to see Aribo in the next, because I thought Aribo, when he came on, he just offered something different. He caused problems, and that's what he does. He drives with the ball, because I don't think Glenn Kamara, Lundstrom, Jack and Scott Arfield, there's not enough creative players there. And I understand you've got to be pragmatic. You've got to understand and respect Braga, but at the same time, do what you did against Dortmund. Don't respect the side. Go for it. Gung-ho football. But yeah, let me know, guys, as I said, let me know who your man of the match was. My man of the match, Calvin Bassey, and then second was Lundstrom. But thanks for watching, guys. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on Thursday, hopefully for a Rangers win. But thanks for watching, guys. BucketHatSam over and out. Thank you. Goodbye.